Dynamite download.
AEW 2020, John Silver.
Special event, as you can see, SPD.
For a smashing good time.
I come along, I come along in the ring.
I would not want to. I would not.
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
I got my beanie on because winter is coming and winter is here. Man,
Winter has arrived.
Winter has arrived because it was a heck of a night, and we felt the heat, we felt the cold, we saw the blood, and it was quite a surprising night of Dynamite. And as watching, reading through some of the Twitter comments and Twitter stuff on there. Some would say one of the better Dynamites in the history. So we're going to dive into all that. Welcome, everybody. You got Bonds over there, booking by Bonds, and SPD holding the fort down for Dynamite Download. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and checking us out. But, man, as Tony Schiavone said it best, man, this show, well, he was speaking specifically about the opening match, was a defining moment for the promotion. And I couldn't agree more because this was quite a way to open the show. And I was surprised to see this, when I was tuning in, that this was going to be the opener. And wow. What did you think, man? Danielson and Hangman's first title defense.
Right. This might be the best match we've seen from Hangman Page. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that's it's an insult to Kenny Omega or anything like that, but I think this match was something special. This might be the best televised AEW match ever. It's going to be up there. I feel like a lot of people are probably feeling the same way. I don't know what else to say about it other than it was a 60-minute epic, ended in a draw, and man, Bryan Danielson put Hangman through hell early on, and it kind of balanced out later. But this feud is definitely not over. And if anything, I want this more now after we get to see this match from these guys. So good, man. What's your initial thoughts as well?
I mean, the crowd was hot for this one. I mean, obviously, any opening match of any show, I got to cheers to both guys, cheers to that, to both of them for just giving it all. But I mean, we're getting constant, this is awesome chants, and the crowd was deservedly so, absolutely. And the crowd was split just because, not necessarily fully split, but there were some, Danielson chants as well as a lot of cowboy shit chants. But obviously, the cowboy shit chants were more echoing than the Danielson ones. But as AEW fans are as smart as they are, they can appreciate good wrestling. And as the resident babyface in Dynamite Download, SPD. Danielson has been my top performer the past couple of weeks, on and off as his heel, because I can appreciate his character work. I'm all for everyone, all team babyface all the way, but I can appreciate good wrestling and good character work. And this was definitely one of the better character works that we've seen out of Danielson, in my opinion. That guy can work a crowd like no other, whether it be babyface or heel. That smirk he had nonstop that whole match was just like he's flicking off the crowd in the picture-in-picture. And then he changes his offense. I mean, even the smallest change when he went from to heel with that just methodical, painful, just nonstop, just like deliver. Not necessarily truly technical, but just physical. I love the heel work that he's been doing, man. And both guys, really were, had opportunities to work those injuries. Like you said, Danielson was working that head injury and then the arm injury. Hangman was a bloody mess for a while, and Danielson, I think, was on the offense for the majority of this match. I mentioned it on our Twitter, but when we were 35 minutes in, I was like, is this the longest match on Dynamite? And not let alone the longest, which we saw, it went to 60 minutes, which we haven't seen that yet. But it was the first title defense of Hangman, and it had 4 commercial breaks. 4 commercial breaks in pictures, man. Unbelievable stuff by both guys, man.
Insane.
They went to war.
They did, man. And again, I'm so excited for where this feud's gonna go because that Danielson is not gonna take this sitting down. He got that's his second draw that he's had against the champion. This is the first time against
True.
Hangman, but he had the
First one was a non-title.
Right, non-title match, but still a draw. And Danielson still hasn't lost, and he's looked like $1 million. And it's going to be hard to keep him out of the title picture with him wrestling like this because, I mean, man, he was on point tonight. And Bryan Danielson's always on point, so that's
True.
not a surprise. But
Hall of Famer.
he was right, exactly. But he was on a point tonight where it was like, man, his offense was just absolutely insane the whole time. And then once he started getting those chinks in his armor with those leg injury, like the leg problem with the Hangman taking advantage of it, great stuff. The psychology was there, everything was there. I usually don't like matches not having a winner, but this one, I can't complain about it because it was such an epic, and frankly, I want to see this match again. I want to see part 2, and I want to see it at a pay-per-view. And this was a pay-per-view match, so it'll be part 2, but it's going to be just as awesome and probably just as epic, especially because we all know what they can do now together. In the ring together. I mean, this was gold, absolute gold.
There needs to, and gold on the line. And this was, it's hard. I agree with you. I can't stand sporting events that end in ties. And I always want a clear winner, but when you can appreciate the art of wrestling, and just to echo what I said earlier, defining moment for our promotion, as Tony Schiavone says, it was just, I mean, I loved how this opened the show. Hangman was showing how he is such a true champ, with those massive, mesmerizing moonsaults off the top rope. And he was giving it all. And he came, so close to finishing off Bryan Danielson. And I was hoping for a swerve where Tony Khan come out and be like giving us 5 more minutes, at this, and the crowd would have just gone berserk, but they gave us so much. This is just, I couldn't believe this went 60 minutes. I know we had
20 minutes.
If we had 4 matches announced for this, as AEW typically does, they'll throw in a couple extra ones, but there was no extra matches. This is 4-match card, and I'm just still in awe.
4 matches.
Yeah, and a Dynamite.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
You're right, true. We had 3.5 matches. But just everything about this match, man, the chemistry was great, and the commentator team did a great job with some awesome stamina throughout this match, because this one is definitely obviously a hard one to call. But it had everything in this match. And, wanting more and more and more of this, they gave us a huge taste. They gave us an appetizer, a dinner, and a dessert. They just didn't give us the bill yet. We're still sitting at the table eating, chomping away. But
this is an all-you-can-eat buffet. What we got,
that's right.
Essentially.
Danielson is still in, this is not over because there's no clear winner. But do you see this continuing sooner than later? Do you think they're going to run it back sooner than later? Or do you see kind of like Hangman maybe having a couple title defenses before they revisit this? Or is Hangman going to defend his title at Danielson next because there was no winner of this match? Where do you see this going?
Man, I don't want to.
I haven't even thought about that.
Else. Oh yeah, it is just so fresh to me that like thinking about what's next is just completely like crazy for me. But I want to see this match again. I want them to run it back. I don't want there to be another feud in the middle of this. I want this to be the focal point of that AEW World Championship. I want it to be Hangman Page. I want it to be Bryan Danielson. And I want that to be the story. And I want that to keep going. I don't want there to be interferences. I don't want there to be other people involved. I just want these guys to go because they went tonight. And honestly, they could have gone for 2 hours and I would have been fine with it because
dude, I can't believe the stamina in both guys, especially Danielson, man. That guy,
a guy his age, doing what he can, a guy in his 40s doing what he can do. And like, obviously, like this match was a long epic, but it didn't feel like it. The pacing was so quick, and I looked up at my clock and it was 8:45, and I was like, wait a minute, it's already been 40 minutes in this match. Are you kidding?
Right.
Like this is nuts. And the whole the pacing the whole time felt like that. Even when Hangman was getting help from the refs, like with
Mhm.
the the water and they're cleaning him up, which I don't know if that was supposed to happen or if he got cut, or whatever happened worse than he was supposed to. But man, he was a
Right.
bloody mess. And they had to stop the match for a minute. And when we were talking about it and
Definitely.
they're texting back and forth during the match, like, oh man, I really hope they don't stop this match because of Hangman bleeding all over the place. That would be terrible.
I
Thankfully
know.
that didn't happen, but what we got was awesome. And the cool thing is too, and what I appreciate about it is the very end. Um, Hangman did get the upper hand at the end, and
Mhm.
he looked like he was about to win. He hit him with that second buckshot, and it looked like he was ready to go and pin Danielson, but it just didn't work out with the time. So I think it's pretty cool that we got to see Hangman kind of take that step in the match because honestly,
Right.
throughout most of it, it felt like Danielson was kind of controlling the pacing in the match most of the time, which I appreciate. That I always like when a heel does that. That's what they're supposed to do.
Right.
They control the
Yeah.
pace. So,
Big
um,
time control.
exactly. So seeing Danielson do that, and then Hangman kind of make his comeback when it mattered most was pretty awesome for the champ. It was really awesome match.
Man, I felt like even the commentator team, like for a while, I was like, the challenger is getting this upper hand,
Mhm.
frequently, and it's always fun to watch the even if the underdog, even though you're not the underdog as the champ, but like the good guy getting beat up and then finally, getting the ultimate payoff and the ultimate kind of reward. But it was incredible, and I'm almost bummed. I wanted more. Like, I know both guys were completely exhausted, but I wanted
Yeah,
more like post match and be like, oh, this isn't over or something. But it was kind of a quick
they're so
transition.
exhausted.
I know. I mean,
Plus,
I
they
was
kind of had to
exhausted
move
sitting
on.
here.
It was the first. It was like 9:05 by the time the match ended, so they had a couple more things to get to, which is a little fair. But I agree with you, man. I want them to keep going. I could have, like I said, 2 hours of that match would have been fine because of it. Like this felt like a 20-minute match,
Right.
and it was 60 minutes. Insane. Um, but we kind of went into something quick right away,
Well,
and I
my
think this
chop
is
of the
me. Oh,
night,
there
the
you go.
chopper of the
Uh
night
oh.
was in this match is Brian Danielson, man. That guy delivers a kick chop combo like no other. But I of the whole card, I had to give Danielson my chop of the night award for SPD's chop of the night for sure on this. And I can't wait for Rampage with not, which we'll talk a little bit about at the end of the show. But chop of the night award goes to Brian Danielson from SPD's chop of the night. But as you were saying, uh, yeah, clap that one up for sure. Um, we saw a little taste of the man himself, Wardlow. This is war in the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale, and we were just salivating over that. And then he was next up, a hard match to follow for anybody. But this was not much of a match. It was more of a massacre. The crowd in the crowd, including us, are so in favor of Wardlow, man, that we
Yeah.
love him. And this there was a lot packed in a little time. Not only was just the Powerbomb Symphony, as they quoted it, that's a new name that I liked that they're saying, the commentator team. But man, just Wardlow's strength and dominance is so fun to watch. Just
Yep.
screams babyface. I can't wait for it. And when Spears is on the mic, man, Wardlow's staring a hole through him, like he's gonna slap the snot out of Spears, and the crowd is just gonna love it. But I want Spears to kind of just lean into that just annoying sidekick, the accountability buddy, an annoying guy, and then just Wardlow is just gonna Spears is gonna make a good person for Wardlow to turn on, and then ultimately, hopefully, just lead through to MJF, which it's not the time, which he's got to
After
go through
Punk.
Spears first, but I want him to turn on MJF first, honestly, and then Spears just kind of be the sacrificial lamb for the Pinnacle, So
Do you want to
what
go through the Pinnacle as well? Because I think that would be
I think that would be great
interesting.
for him to go to the Pinnacle, because if Wardlow turns on MJF in the Pinnacle, I think MJF is going to start sicking his wolves, or whoever it may be, try to do a 2-on-1 FTR versus Wardlow. Obviously, Spears, I think, will be the first sacrificial lamb. Then ultimately, it's almost like the 5 labors of Wardlow that Jericho had to go through.
That'd be great.
So
That'd be
I think that
great.
would be awesome, and then you'd build a star. If
Yeah.
Wardlow had to go through the Pinnacle, and MJF kind of being the ultimate payoff, you're going to build an awesome star. And
I
Wardlow is
think
a star, period.
oh, he is. I was just about to say, I think Wardlow's already there. The crowd was so hot they were chanting one more when he was, just destroying Matt Sydal.
And
And
he's supposed to be a heel.
exactly. And they're cheering him. And you can tell it's a little different with him, man. Like he's on MJF's payroll, but he looked like he was so just irritated and disgusted. When Sean Spears was saying like, "Hey man, like you got to go get some bubbly for our boy MJF. We got to
I
go to the
know.
store. I'll drive you by, buddy, and just you can go in with your singlet on. It's fine." It was so funny, but also you could tell Wardlow wanted to rip his head off.
I know.
And it's we're getting there, man. It's so close. I can taste it. The Wardlow babyface turn, and we need. I feel like AEW needs a big babyface like him that can just go through people and be that kind of guy who's right on the cusp of being that breakout guy. And I think he's there. We picked, Wardlow was one of our picks for breakout star of 2021, and ultimately it didn't turn out that way, but
Right.
he's right on that cusp. And I think that we're finally about to get it, and it feels like it's close. And I think that
Right.
once this CM Punk MJF storyline kind of dies down a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised if that's next, or that could happen during the MJF CM Punk storyline, which could make it even more interesting. So I'm
would be
excited, man.
interesting.
And Wardlow is doing his thing, and it's awesome.
It's very interesting. Man, I just cannot wait for, they need to just break the chains and let him loose, because we
Yeah.
picked him as that breakout star, like you mentioned. This guy has so much potential. He's so fun to watch in the ring. It's almost a underutilized person, man. It's a bummer. And hopefully we get this chains broken free very, very soon on it as well, man.
Yeah, because once the chains are broken on him, man, he's going to go through everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare.
This is war.
It's going to be so cool, man.
One of my favorite segments of the night, and one of my consistently favorite promos that we see, are Malachi Black promos. And, this one really stood out to me. I love the contact lens and the new the face paint. This House of Black gimmick that we're seeing, and this kind of stalking that Malachi Black is doing with different victims is very interesting. It's I don't know what to make of it fully and where the end game is, but man, and just this promo was done so well and shot so well. He's talking about what makes a house so strong, and I love how he said the past is not a crutch, but it's an arrow. And then we saw at the end some kind of teasers, he's spitting the black mist and putting a chain on someone. And I know you have more thoughts on that, but man, this is the House of Black. I mean, we're going to see Malachi Black face a fired up Griff Garrison, which to me, that promo by Griff was probably his best promo to date we've seen in AEW. I think he delivered an awesome message, a direct message, a fired up Griff. And it's got me, Varsity Blondes all the way, baby. I know he's backing his partner down with Pillman, but he's like, no, I'm going to step up to this because he's a coward. But what did you think of this Malachi Black promo?
I mean, every time Malachi Black has a vignette, it feels so epic and special, and you get chills. This guy, he's so thoughtful when it comes to his storylines and what he's doing. And I think that he's been very methodical of like what he's doing with his House of Black. I think that's been very methodical and taking time and stretching it out. And I appreciate that, because now we're going to be getting this stuff that we've been, wanting. We've been pining for the House of Black to be a thing.
Right.
And we know that's coming now, and obviously there's some implications based on the promo that Brody King is going to be debuting next week, which is possible. It could be a swerve. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens either. But obviously, King and Malachi have a huge, they've been tag partners and they've been champions together and recently been together. So obviously, like everybody on social media, I caught that King line that Malachi threw out there, and That's pretty awesome, and you're gonna be so excited. I know you're not familiar with Brody King, but you're gonna be very
I'm
excited.
not.
A big man, very big man. So,
Yeah.
very good addition to the roster. And who knows, there might be more people joining the House of Black as well. We didn't see Julia Hart this week. That would
No.
be an interesting, a very interesting play on it, where Julia Hart could potentially be, kind of doing that thing as well. She got spit in the face last week, so obviously there's some stuff going on, and she wasn't on TV. And
True.
Griff was really adamant, like, hey, Pillman, you're not here to help. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna break
Right.
Malachi's jaw next week. Which was awesome line, way to finish it off. And again, like you said, that was Griff's best promo he's done to date, I believe.
Yeah.
But man, Malachi is ready for, I think, bigger storylines past Cody now. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to be involved with the Cody story anymore. He can kind of move on to his own thing. And if the House of Black is coming, man, like, we're gonna get some tag teams or some stable action here, and it's gonna be really
Oof.
fun.
Yeah, like you're saying,
can't wait.
a new group brewing, and I think it'd be cool to have that kind of like I said, stalking, recruiting type of out of Malachi Black throughout the roster.
Yep.
As well as recruiting current stars, or maybe ones that are current talent necessarily we haven't seen in a while or anything like that. So very intriguing stuff, and I think there'll be a start of a new chapter next week when we see Griff and Black go toe to toe for sure.
Yeah.
Deeb versus Shida 3. To me, two women that are pillars of the women's division.
Yep.
Easily. Can't argue that at all. And, Crayfish agrees, and, kind of echoing what he said. But I think Serena Deeb is not only one of the best wrestlers in the women's division, but on the AEW roster, period.
Agreed.
The stuff that she can do in the ring, the character work, the physicality, the methodical, violent offense, the heel work that she's doing is really probably some of the best heel work in the women's division, period. And, which she needs more of a platform for us to be wowed of it. She's, as JR has talked about it before, I think Deeb is maximizing her minutes, and she's not getting enough of those minutes. And so she's definitely a pillar and top tier talent of the women's division. That being said, Shida as well. I mean, this match started off very hot and violent. It was such a battle. Both women are very physical, which that is a huge draw for me in a women's division match, because I have been a little overly critical on some women's division matches in months and years past of going through the motion, and these two women do not do that ever.
Hell no.
And it was such a battle. This feud is absolutely money in the women's division. It's a shame that it's already coming to a close, because we got a lot of great wrestling out of it. And like I said, Deeb is so good at delivering violent offense, and I loved it, and seeing both, the ex-champ back on TV and in actually a meaningful feud. I'm happy. I was happy to see that.
Yeah, me too, man. I loved the dichotomy of this match. We got to see the mat work and just physical aggressiveness of Serena Deeb, and we got to see the anger of Shida, which I love when she's like that, when she's so mad at Deeb for costing her opportunities. And I think it's that makes it more interesting when you got these people who hate each other, in the storyline, or just have had so many interactions, and interactions that have been costing them gold opportunities. These have been not just backstage promos that they've gotten in
the tournament.
This is a tournament. Yeah, this was something important. And I think that this match tonight, while it's always hard to follow up a big match like we saw with Danielson and Hangman, but I think this match was just as good as their other ones. I think that I liked seeing Deeb's. I love Deeb's mat work. I think her mat work is just so much better than anybody else around. And she's just so talented. And I loved the back and forth. I really didn't know who was going to win this match. It was back and forth consistently. And in reality, seeing Shida win, that's great, because we need Shida to be a bigger player on television. And I think that this is a good way to almost reintroduce her to the TV audience that might not watch Dark and Elevation, where she's been absolutely dominant. So I think that this is going to be something that's going to be big for her, just in general. And I think that Deeb is going to be able to move on to something, hopefully, where she's able to kind of just be that epic heel she's been so far with this feud. This is really her breakout feud as a heel in AEW. So it'll be good to see what she does next. I'm really excited about that.
Who do you want to see go against Shida next?
Man, that's tough. That's really tough, actually. I wouldn't bet against her being in the title picture, frankly. I think that her and Britt could do some really good stuff. I think that, Britt's really kind of always in between feuds, it feels like to me. So I think that they could really, put Shida in the main event quickly. Yeah. I think that would be a good way to bring that back. Have her, kind of go, hey, man, like I got hurt and then I was off TV after I lost my title. Like I want an opportunity. And I think that beating somebody like Serena Deeb legitimizes that claim. And especially because we've had, like the ranking system matters, you know what I mean? But I think that having, the winning the 2 out of 3 with Deeb, I think that's a big deal. And I think that could be something that they push after the Ty Conti feud. So
and Scoot, you're saying Jamie Hayter.
I'd like that too. That'd be fun.
Physical, another physical performer in Jamie Hayter, which I'm a huge fan of it as well in the ring. But I think it would be interesting because you can even, to me, I know we kind of briefly talk about it here and there, but I still think Jade is going to be winning that TBS title tournament. And Shida versus Jade could be a nice notch, and that can really push Jade to the moon if she beats Shida, an ex-champ, the longest champ we've had. And if you start that feud, a Shida versus Jade first title defense feud with TBS, I mean, that's competing. I mean, Hangman versus Danielson is really high, but if you did Shida versus Jade, I think that instantly gives her so much more credibility with the title defense. Versus like going someone against a quick, I hate to keep using the word squash, but like a quick, a win or something against someone. But
I mean, it's okay to call a spade,
Yeah.
Most of Jade's matches have been squash matches. So
so if you have her go through Thunder and then you go through potentially the gatekeeper Nyla Rose and then have a title defense against Shida, you just created a star.
Yeah. I feel
you created someone in the division that is a pillar
and different.
And I think Tony Khan sees that in her and we see that in her. And I think that would be a good transition. So I think I would, to help build up Jade, to have Shida, essentially go, which would be in a couple weeks, that finals is coming up soon. And switching over to the TBS network soon. So I think that's where I would go with that.
I feel it. I like it. And it's a great idea.
As Mark Henry says, it's time for the main event.
Oh no. This one, man, I'm so happy as an MJF Mark that he is
your number 1 overall pick.
The number 1 pick, man. That he's the 3-time Dynamite Diamond Ring champion. He's the man. Awesome.
Have to admit it. Sorry.
You have to, because it's just facts, man. All these mids that thought he wasn't going to win, they don't like him because he tells the truth. He's the guy who's just always there on top. Because he's the leader of the Pinnacle. How can you not be on top when you're the leader of the Pinnacle? You know what I mean? Come on. 3 times. See? Nobody else has done that.
$100,000 ring. $100,000 on that ugly ass pinky of him, man.
Yeah, and he's got 3 of them. He should just come out with all 3 next week.
I know I don't think he's gonna beat Tom Brady, man. I mean, this is definitely MJF. They mentioned or showed in his bottom third that he's never lost in Dynamite. We have to, even though MJF blocked us on Twitter and MJF has been in our chat, and we know he loves Dynamite Download. The fact is, the guy is unbelievable. I mean, the guy talks the talk, walks the walk. We want to see more of him in the ring, period. And it's great. We're going to see him next week in the ring. And 3-time winner. This ring, pinky ring, fits his personality so much. His promos are absolutely always on fire. This match of 2 young important pieces of AEW was a great way to main event tonight.
Yeah. This is the future of this company right here, man.
Mhm.
Like guys like Dante Martin and MJF are going to be around for a long time, and they're going to be the people that we see for the next decade plus in AEW. They're going to be the people that when guys like John Moxley and Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, and all these other guys that are around right now that are the now are done, that these will be the stars that are built on the backs of these kind of matches. We got to see Dante Martin kind of have a crazy jump out of nowhere. He was a tag team guy with his brother and just out of nowhere becomes a singles phenomenon who could just do
Singles
like
superstar.
crazy.
I think he's
Yeah,
elevating himself to superstar level
he
on
is.
matches like tonight.
Right. And tonight was not even his best effort. He didn't win the match, but he came out there and whooped MJF in a lot of ways. And again, the pacing went the heel's way this match. I love that. This was kind of the whole night felt like this. Where it was a heel night in AEW where we got to see them control the pace of like all the matches. MJF wouldn't let Dante hit his big spots. MJF would roll out of the way just to make sure that Dante couldn't hit him with something off the top rope. When Dante hit him in the face and, maybe busted a tooth or something, and MJF was selling it the whole time, he made sure, like, I'm going to be out of the ring and going around in circles the whole time, and I'm not going to let you get your offense in. And ultimately, it was Ricky Starks who let MJF get that win because he, was getting revenge on right. But it makes sense because of Dante eliminating him last week in the Battle Royale. So I get it. Makes sense. And MJF didn't get a clean win on Dante, so it makes Dante look strong too. All these guys came out of this match looking better, and MJF is still the best heel in the industry.
I mean, that's you can never argue that.
No.
MJF is by far the best heel in the industry, period. And there's not even. You could throw a couple names in that hat, but honestly, there's no one that would ever even scratch the surface. He never misses a beat. He's always smooth on the mic, and
everything.
He backs it up. And but honestly, if we didn't have this Iron Man match to open up Dynamite, I think Dante Martin would have been my top performer of the night, just because there's so many jaw-dropping moments that he delivers every single time he's in the squared circle. I mean, he did that rolling 450 knee drop, which actually hit MJF in the freaking face, which
that was the spot
that was the spot. And then
he sold that the whole match.
The stuff that Dante Martin does is not human. It is insane that how he can, balance and bounce off the ropes. And then that one shooting star press off the ropes that he overshot a little, but it was still just like, he's the type of person that could sell out arenas because he's so fun to watch live. And I know on TV, we just mark out for his amazing agility, but watching him live and someone like Sammy Guevara live are reasons why you go to live events. And Dante Martin is just absolutely incredible, man. This kid has so much. He doesn't have potential. He has it. Dante Martin has it. And this guy is getting a push. And, we're doing our awards here soon for Dynamite Download, the end of the year awards. And, I wouldn't be shocked if Dante Martin gets a clean sweep from Dynamite Download in one of our award categories. This guy is awesome, man.
I feel it, man. I completely agree. But, it doesn't sound like Dante was your performer of the night. So who was your performer of the night, SPD?
I mean, it wasn't an easy pick because I almost had to.
Dante was close. I think,
Dante was close, but both guys, it almost was like a flip of a coin for this match because I honestly liked Danielson's character and in-ring general work better than Hangman's. But Hangman as a first title defense tonight in one of the best matches we've seen on Dynamite ever for both competitors deserve this award. But Hangman Page, man, cowboy shit. And I mean, you could tell Hangman was a bloody mess. He was winded, raising a beer for him. But what stood out to you the most for Hangman tonight?
So for me, man, it was the what really put him ahead of Danielson, because I had the same problem. I didn't know who I was going to give this top performer to, because neither of them lost the match, so I couldn't be like, oh well, Hangman won. I guess technically he's still the champ, but neither of them lost this match. I think the last bit of resilience he showed at the end of the match, where he where it was like, okay, man, he got the momentum last. You know, he's the last guy that had the momentum, and he really showed up, and he did his best spots, and he got the biggest pop of the night. Those last few moments of the match before the time ran out, that put him ahead for me. And everything else is what we talked about the whole time. You know, these guys went 60 minutes in a match that felt like 20. The pacing was insane. It felt like, you know, he was gushing blood out of his head, you know, all
Oh, that
down
was
his
brutal.
front
Yeah.
end. You know, he had a crimson mask basically the whole match. You know, that
True.
happened very early in the match where he got busted
Yep.
open. So he was wrestling like that for a very long time. And, you
That's
know,
tough.
he didn't miss a beat. There was no missed spots. There was nothing felt off the whole time. It was a perfect championship match. And I got to give it to the champ because, you know, he held it. He didn't lose to a guy that's been so experienced and traveled around the world and is widely considered the best wrestler in the world. And he went out there and went toe to toe with him. And when it mattered most, he held his own and
Mhm.
and looked like he was going to take it. If it would have been a five more minutes, and he probably would have had him. So that's why I'm going to give it to Hangman.
Yeah, I mean, hats out to Hangman, and I think most of us would agree for that as well. And
Yeah.
cowboy shit for sure. And we can't wait to see what's next to him. And I hope. I almost want, you know, I like we talked about a little earlier, like to run this one back, but I
Yeah.
almost want to see Hangman kind of have another title defense or something, or you know, you go. It's a tough place for me to booking because you don't run this back in a week or two. Like
No.
you're gonna milk this. Do you milk this all the way to Revolution? That's a long time, in my opinion. That's not typical AEW booking.
Yeah, I don't know if I would wait till a pay-per-view. You know, I think that maybe you could keep the storyline going, having some other stuff going on. You could even have matches, you know, that aren't the typical like, oh, he's gonna just wrestle against Hangman, Brian Danielson. You could have some tag matches involved in there. You know, like
True.
Danielson eventually is going to have because he's talked about this before, and we alluded to it last week. You know, Danielson talked about
Yeah.
wanting to start a stable in AEW, and I think that you know the fact that Hangman's still with the Dark Order is important. You could do something interesting with that where, you know, maybe next week, you know, Danielson's got somebody in his corner and that could be something else. You don't know. I mean, when you've got a guy who's that popular and that big around the world, it wouldn't be surprising if anybody decided, hey, I'm going to join up with this guy. He's the man.
Yeah.
And you could have some really cool stuff. And I'm just excited to see where they go next because this can't be it. You know, this
Right.
can't be it. This was too good to be it.
Yeah, I was singing the same tune for Danielson and Kenny Omega.
Yeah,
I was like, this can't be it. You know,
that's
it's a
true. But
draw.
yeah,
And then it was it. You know, I was hoping for Kenny to lose the belt, still have a little bit healthy, and then have that rematch where Danielson beats Kenny. But I think the wrench got thrown into there where Moxley got injured or anything, something
and
like,
Kenny needed to get
or
surgery as well, which
Kenny
for
needed
sure
surgery.
affected
Moxley
things.
got injured, and then you needed to fill a void of a top heel, and then so Danielson quickly did that. So that being said, it's if there's the only way that this kind of gets put on the back burner is if you have some kind of star emerge, but I don't see someone kind of challenging Hangman or kind of inserting themselves as of now, personally.
I don't really see anybody else at that level yet. You know, after tonight's match, who's better than those two guys? Who can you put it in that would
Who better?
justifiably maybe Brian Cage? There we go. I'm
He was
down.
beating
We haven't seen
Hangman.
Brian Cage in a while. So yeah,
He was beating Hangman.
exactly, man. Maybe next week we'll see Brian Cage come out. You know, he's not with Team Taz anymore either, so it's a big difference in character.
Right.
You know, so we'll see. I would love to see something like that, but also if after a match like this, dude, you just can't. It's so tough to say, like, okay, you know, Brian Danielson's undefeated. He didn't lose to Hangman. He had a draw. Like, how can you justify putting anybody else above him on the
I know.
list? It's that's what's hard about this. You can't. What are you supposed to do? You know, it's a
Yeah.
60-minute time limit, and they couldn't win. Neither of them could win. So what are you gonna do? 2 hours next time? You're gonna do, you know, maybe just no
I
time
know.
limit and just see who can win. That's what I want, man. I mean, no time limit and just let them go.
They dug themselves a hole though, because you can't have a 20-minute match now where someone wins. Like
Yeah.
you have to elevate it. You can't do it 2 out of 3 falls either because these guys kicked out everything. So
Yeah.
to me, doing a 60-minute time limit is kind of it's a tough place. It's an amazing thing for a fan. but you kind of like hurt someone in the long run. I feel like if whatever is next in terms of unless you add some kind of element like a cage match or something like that, like
There needs to be
no
some
matter what
stipulation.
happens next in the rematch, if and when there is the rematch, like I said, if it's a 30-minute match and Hangman wins clean or Danielson wins clean, like why did it take 60 minutes and a draw? Like it's a tough position. They set the bar high,
They did.
really high,
They
and they
did.
delivered. They delivered on every element, in my opinion. But they set it high moving forward, and I can't wait to see what AEW has in store to
Same,
top
buddy.
that, because it's going to be a
Same.
tough thing to top.
But I feel it, man. That's why it's tough. And you're right when you say like they kind of put themselves in a corner here because that's my problem with draws.
Yeah,
Because ultimately, you see it in the NFL too, like with draws and that when that's not scripted, and I think that's the dumbest thing you could do is have a game end in a tie. Are you kidding me?
Agreed.
Like you have 60 minutes of football. How can it end in a tie? You just play till somebody wins.
Give the
It's
people
not
what
that
they
hard.
want.
Exactly. Play till
I get
somebody
it for like
wins.
TV because you have a TV
Yeah.
time limit.
I
That
do.
makes a
I
little
feel
more
that,
sense.
but right
Yeah.
for sure. But ultimately, now we have a long time until the next pay-per-view, and if they have a rematch, how can you beat what we just got? You're stuck. You
You're
can't
gonna do
beat
another
that.
60-minute time limit on TV. Like
Just keep
I don't
doing
think
it
you
every
can do
every
that. I
week.
don't
Just
think you
have it
can.
until somebody wins.
I don't think you can do another 60-minute match anytime soon.
No,
We would welcome it,
I
but
would love to watch it. Yeah,
I don't think that's the right booking decision for this feud to do that again. Even though these guys can handle it, but prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
give us a 2-hour match and then
One match on Dynamite.
break the record for longest wrestling match ever.
Right.
I wonder what that is because honestly I will not challenge Tony Khan to that because that could be like 24-hour match and I don't want to. I don't have a heart attack, so it's fine.
I know.
Don't worry about it. Just do something great, Tony. It'll be fine. I know it's gonna be awesome. So just like tonight was awesome.
So looking
epic.
forward ahead into Rampage. Rampage Rundown will be back in 2 days' time. So please join us.
Drop
heading
that
into
card,
the
buddy.
weekend. But I didn't get any graphics on this one,
Oh,
but
no good.
I know
Gotcha.
the card. It's an 8-man tag match. You got the Super Click, obviously with Bobby Fish versus the Best Friends. You have Ty Conti versus Penelope Ford in a submission match, which I'm glad it's cool that they're adding some kind of stipulation.
Yep.
And then you have a 10-man tag match with Eddie Kingston, PNP, and Lucha Brothers versus 2.0 Daniel Garcia and the Acclaimed. What match are you looking forward to the most on Rampage this week?
Oh man, there's so many good matches. Like Rampage is just packed full of like the dream cards.
That's
You know
20
what I mean?
talent on an hour show,
Right? But I would say that Jurassic Express versus Super Click. That's the big one
Best
for
Friends.
me. Or Best Friends. I'm sorry. Yeah, Best Friends versus Super Click. Because for me, like I love the Super Click. I love Adam Cole. I love the Bucks. I love Bobby Fish. I want to see those guys go in there and just absolutely wreck shop. And the Best Friends are great. Obviously last week they caused some mayhem for those guys.
Right.
So I think that there's going to be some bad blood in this match. It'll be a lot of fun. And dude, I want to see where Adam Cole is soon because he's got that surprise coming for us. And I don't know if there's a Kyle surprise or something coming up. So I don't know. What about you, bro?
It doesn't matter where it's placed or what's going on. If Lucha Brothers are on the card, that's my.
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
But also not only the Lucha Brothers, I'm just excited to see PNP back together. Back on TV. So Santana and Ortiz, back on TV. So this and like we've talked about on our show and Dynamite Download, 2.0 has been quickly growing to be one of our universal favorites of tag teams. So 2.0 and the Acclaimed, I mean, those are two teams that are like absolutely top-notch guys on the mic. So
I want them to like make
work.
fun of 2.0 though. The Acclaim. That's because I feel like that would be funnier. So I don't know. It's gonna be. It's fine. It'll work out. But
I'm looking forward to that one a lot.
I want to hear Max Caster. Because everybody else makes fun of 2.0. I want to hear Max Caster do it. Because I mean, nobody's better than Max Caster making fun of people, right? So
I mean, just like the pairing
Oh, I know.
Man,
I'm just kidding.
everything about this is so good. Like
It's gonna be epic.
Eddie is so great on the mic. PNP are awesome on the mic. Acclaimed are awesome on the mic. 2.0
loves the
awesome on the mic. Like I can't wait. I want this to be the main event so you can have that Mark Henry moment where we're getting people just like spitting game back and
They're
forth. So
screaming at each other the whole time, and Mark Henry
Yeah.
just says, "Say it." Like it's time for the main event. He just doesn't have anything to do.
Well, Eddie Kingston won't let anyone talk probably, but he'll be great anyways.
That's fair.
Yeah, I have a good feeling that, and it's just pretty much team chops, with Penta, Ray, and Eddie. Like, who's gonna get my chop of the night on Friday, man? That's gonna be tough.
Man, I don't know.
I'm
But
gonna have a clicker of how many chops Eddie Kingston is. I know this is not the match versus CM Punk, so I think Eddie Kingston is gonna send a lot of chops to Daniel Garcia's chest in 2.0 ways. So I think we're gonna see over 15 chops from Eddie Kingston on Friday night Rampage.
I like it. I like that's a big one, man. We're gonna have to keep track because
I'm gonna.
The over under, man. If you get under, you got to shave the stash off.
That's not gonna happen. This thing is I gotta work my way up to Dax, bro.
Uh-oh. That's gonna take a while. You gotta
if it's all right, if it's over 15, you gotta shave your head. But you're already bald.
That's fine. Yeah. Sweet. Cool. Works for me, bro. Good deal.
No way. But man, this is a great show, man.
Yeah,
Austin
notch.
Gunn versus Matt Caster, man. We're big Austin Gunn fans, and Gun Club fans as well.
Yep.
But Bonds and I are going to wrap it up for this episode of Dynamite Download, episode 64. Thank you guys for joining us. You know where to find us on Friday night at Rampage Rundown. Right after Rampage this Friday night. Crayfish is going to be back on the ones and twos with SPD. So please join us. We'd love to see you guys. Grab a cold one, head into the weekend. It's approaching 10 days away from Christmas. So thank you everyone for joining us for this episode of Dynamite Download. Cheers. I got the Wolf Among the Weeds.
Wolf Among Weeds IPA. Nice.
Yeah.
We got the Market Garden Brewery Festivus Holiday Ale.
All right. Getting festive over there.
Yeah,
we need to wear our next week, man, for the Christmas show. I gotta dress up as Santa or something. We gotta do something.
I think it's a good idea.
Something festive. But thank you everyone for joining us. Dynamite Download episode 64 in the books, and we will talk to you all soon and see you on Friday for Rampage